Hello everyone, welcome to the yarn bowl. Today in this video we are gonna see how to crochet this beautiful bubbles and tulip mobile pouches. And I have also worked the same bag as a sling bag, a bigger size, which you can purchase from my Etsy page. I'll post all the links in the description for you to go and check it out. So in this video we're just gonna see how to crochet the small bag, which is the mobile pouch. So in this video we're just gonna see how to work this small mobile pouches in one of my favorite stitch, the pebble stitch. And if you want a free written pattern of this mobile pouches, it's available in my website theyarnbowlcrochet.com. Link for that is available in the description. And if you have an Instagram account, do follow me on my Instagram handle as well. I post project updates and fun reels on my Instagram. Meanwhile, if you are new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the Yarn Bowl and click on the bell icon as well so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. So these are the yarns that I will be using today. You can use any size 4 yarn of your choice. So I'm gonna use I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby, and I didn't find the green color yarn with the same brand, so I went ahead and used Land brand yarn. And the colors that I'll be using is white, Orchid, and the color the one in the Line brand basic stitch premium yarn would be Ivy. And I'm going to use 5mm crochet hook for working this mobile pouch, and we'll need a large pearl. You can also use a button. This will be like a button for our bag, and we'll need sewing needles, and you'll also need a stitch marker if you're not good in tracking your first stitch of each round. So for round 1 I'm going to go ahead, work a slip knot, and then I will work 14 chains. So you're going to work 14 chains. So once you have worked 14 chains, I'm going to go ahead work 2 more chains. This 2 chains is going to act like our first half double crochet stitch, and then I'm going to work 2 more half double crochet on the 3rd chain from the hook. And these are the corner stitches. So on both the corner stitches we are going to have 3 half double crochet stitches, and in all the middle stitches we're going to have just 1 half double crochet stitch. Now I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on each chain just before the last chain. That is, I will work 1 half double crochet on each chain for 12 chains in the middle. So I will stop before the last chain. So now I have stopped before last chain. As I told earlier, I'm going to work 3 half double crochet stitches on my last chain. So this is going to eventually turn my bag, or the base of my bag, to the other side. And once I have worked 3 half double crochet stitch on the last stitch, I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on each stitch for the next 12 stitches on the opposite side. So while I'm working this, I'm going to also work along the small bit of yarn that is left while we started our slip knot. So just make sure you work along that yarn as well, and go ahead, work 1 half double crochet on each stitch for next 12 stitches on the opposite side. So as we have already worked 3 half double crochet on the starting, we are just going to work a slip stitch on top of our starting chain 2, which is our first half double crochet stitch, to close this round 1. So now you go ahead, work 1 half double crochet on each stitch till the end. So now I'm gonna work a slip stitch on top of my starting chain 2 to close my round 1. So now for round 2 I'm gonna work a chain 1, and then I'm gonna locate the third loop of each stitch, and then I will work 1 half double crochet on it. Now if you gently turn your stitch, you can see one loop behind the V's on the top, so that is called as your third loop. So now I'm going to work a chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on the third loop of each stitch. So starting would be difficult because that is a chain 2 that is we are considering as a half double crochet, and now for the next stitch it will be easy. Just pick up the third loop and work 1 half double crochet on it. So for round 1 we should have 30 stitches, and that should be the same for round 2 as well. We should end up having 30 half double crochet stitches. And now go ahead, work 1 half double crochet on the third loop of each stitch around, and once done we will work a slip stitch on top of our starting half double crochet stitch. So go ahead, work your third loop half double crochet stitches around. I'll meet you at the end of round 2. So now we have worked our round 2. I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch to close my round 2. So that's the end of round 2. You should have 30 half double crochet stitches. So for the next round we'll work on a special stitch called pebble stitch. If you have followed my videos, I have worked this stitch in many of my tutorials. So we work the pebble stitch always on the wrong side. So for that I'm going to work a chain 1 which does not count as a stitch, and then I will turn my work to the wrong side. So now I'm going to work 1 single crochet on the same stitch, and then now I'm going to work a pebble stitch. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook on the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert my hook on the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert my hook on the stitch, pull up a loop. Now I have 7 loops on the hook. That's where I'll stop, and then I yarn over, pull through all the 7 loops. So that's your pebble stitch. Now I work 1 single crochet on the next stitch. On the next stitch I'm going to once again work a pebble stitch. So I yarn over, insert my hook on the stitch, pull up a loop, repeat that 2 more times. I end up with 7 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all the 7 loops, and then in the next stitch work a single crochet. Now we are going to repeat working 1 pebble stitch in 1 stitch and 1 single crochet on the next stitch around. So we work 1 single crochet in 1 stitch and 1 pebble stitch on the next stitch around, and then once done we are going to work a slip stitch on top of our starting single crochet to close this round 3. So go ahead, repeat this pattern around. Now if you turn to the right side you can see nice squishy stitches which is called as a pebble stitch. So go ahead, repeat working 1 single crochet in 1 stitch and 1 pebble stitch on the next stitch around, and I'll meet you at the end of this round. So now I have completed my round 3. I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of our starting single crochet stitch to close this round 3. So at the end of round 3 I should have 15 single crochet stitches and 15 pebble stitches. Now for round 4 we are going to work again in the right side. Only the pebble stitches will work on the wrong side. So remember that. And now I'm going to work a chain 1, turn my work to the right side. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And then I'm going to work one half double crochet stitch on the pebble stitch of the previous round and one half double crochet stitch on the single crochet of the previous round. That is, we are ideally going to work one half double crochet on every single stitch of the previous round. And once done, I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch to close this round 4. So, and at the end of round 4 we should have 30 half double crochet stitches. We are maintaining our stitch counts here. So go ahead, work one half double crochet on each stitch around, and once done we will work a slip stitch on top of our starting half double crochet stitch. So this is the end of round 4. So now we should have 30 half double crochet stitch at the end of round 4. So now change your yarn color to green. I did not cut my white yarn because we'll keep working with this. I just cut through my colored yarns while I was working this bag. It's up to you how you work. I just don't cut my white yarn. And with the green yarn I'm going to work a chain 3. This chain 3 is considered as my first double crochet. Then I'll work one more chain for the chain 1 space, and then I'm going to locate my third loop and I will work one double crochet on it, which is ideally the same stitch. So this stitch that we have worked right here is called as a V stitch. So V stitch is basically a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet worked on the same stitch. So throughout this round we are just going to work on the third loop. So remember that. And now I'm going to skip 2 stitches and then work a V stitch, which is double crochet, chain 1 double crochet on the third loop of the stitch. After skipping 2 stitches. Now once again skip 2 stitches and pick up the third loop of the next stitch after skipping 2 stitches and work a V stitch on it, which is double crochet, chain 1 double crochet. Once again skip 2 stitches, pick up the third loop of the next stitch after skipping 2 stitches and work one V stitch, which is double crochet, chain 1 double crochet on it. So keep repeating this pattern with the green yarn. I'll meet you at the end of this round, and once we are done with that we are going to work a slip stitch on top of our starting chain 3 to close this round. So now we have completed our round 5. So at the end of round 5 you should have 10 V stitches. So this will be the base for working our tulip stitches. And before working slip stitch on top of your starting chain 3, make sure you pull the white yarn back inside the bag because we'll be using that yarn little later after the tulip round is done. And then work a slip stitch on top of your starting chain 3 to close this round 5, and then work a slip stitch on the chain 1 space before you change the yarn color to purple. So change your yarn color to purple. So now I have changed my yarn color to purple. I'm going to work tulip stitches, which is ideally double crochet 4 together. But this is, since this is our first tulip stitch, we'll start with chain 2 and then work double crochet 3 together on the chain 1 space of the previous round. So once you have worked your chain 2 double crochet 3 together, which is considered as our first double crochet 4 together. I'm going to work a chain 2. So work a chain 2 and then work one tulip stitch, which is double crochet 4 together, on every chain 1 space of the V stitch of previous round. And once you have worked your double crochet 4 together, you're going to work a chain 2 and repeat this pattern around. Work double crochet 4 together followed by a chain 2. So this double crochet 4 together is going to look like a tulip. So pick up the chain 1 space of the V stitches on the previous round and work double crochet 4 followed by a chain 2. So keep repeating this pattern around, and once done we are going to work a slip stitch on top of your starting tulip stitch. So you should have 10 tulip stitches with in between chain 2 spaces at the end of this round. So keep repeating this pattern around. I'll meet you at the end of this round. So now we are at the end of round 5. I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of my starting tulip stitch to close this round. As I told you earlier, we should have 10 tulips stitches within between chain 2 spaces. Now I'm going to change my yarn color to white again, and we are going to work a round of half double crochet stitches. So now I'm going to work a chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and then I'm going to work 1 half double crochet on the same stitch, and then in the chain 2 space I'm going to work 2 half double crochet stitches. So I'm just marking my first stitch with the stitch marker, and then I'm going to work 2 half double crochet stitches on the chain 2 space of the previous round, and I will work 1 half double crochet on top of my tulip stitch, which is my double crochet 4 together, and then I will work 2 half double crochets on the chain 2 space of the previous round. So we're going to repeat this pattern around. So I'm going to work 1 half double crochet stitch on the top of tulip stitch of the previous round, and 2 half double crochet stitches on the chain 2 space of the previous round. So keep repeating this pattern around, and once done we are going to work a slip stitch on top of our starting half double crochet stitch to close this round 7. So at the end of round 7 we should have 30 half double crochet stitches. So now I'm done with this round. I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch to close this round 7. So we should have 30 stitches at the end of round 7. Always keep track of your stitch counts. So if you miss any stitch, the bag is not going to turn out as it's expected to be. So now for the next 6 rounds, which is from round 8 to round 13, we are just going to repeat rounds 2 to 7, which is from there to the round 7 that we just worked. We're just going to repeat everything again one more time. So go ahead, repeat rounds 2 to 7 once again. So now this one would be I will work a chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and then I'm going to go ahead work 1 half double crochet on the third loop of each stitch around, and once done I will work a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch to close this round. So in this case it's round 8. So go ahead, repeat this pattern around, and also keep repeating rounds 2 to 7 one more time. So now I'm done with my round 13 here. So I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch to close my round 13. So I should have 30 stitches now. So we have worked 2 rounds of tulip stitches. Now for round 14 I'm gonna work my 14 and 15. I'm gonna repeat my rounds 3 and 4, which would be the pebble stitch round and the half double crochet stitch round. So go ahead, work round 3 and 4 for round 14 and 15. So right now I'm working the pebble stitch round here. So as you know, we are gonna work pebble stitch rounds on the wrong side. So I'm gonna do that, and then once I'm done with that, I will repeat round 4 for round 15. So go ahead, work your round 14, which is typically repeating our round 3 here. And once done, we are going to work a slip stitch on top of our starting half double crochet stitch. So this is how it looks. So we have lined up beautiful tulips in between the pebbles. And for round 15, I'm going to repeat round 4, which would be chain 1, turn your work to the right side and work 1 half double crochet on the single crochet of the previous round and 1 half double crochet on the pebble stitch of the previous round, which is basically working 1 half double crochet on top of each stitch around. And once done, work a slip stitch on top of your starting half double crochet to close this round 15. So at the end of round 15, we should have 30 stitches. Go ahead, repeat, work your round 15. I'll meet you at the end of round 15. So now we are done with round 15. I'm gonna work my last round. So we'll be adding a buttonhole to this round. So I'm gonna work everything on the third loop. So I'm gonna work a chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and then I will work 1 half double crochet on the third loop of each stitch for the next 24 stitches. So go ahead, work 1 half double crochet on the third loop of each stitch for the next 24 stitches. So now once that is done, we are going to work our buttonhole on the 25th stitch. I'm going to work 1 half double crochet, chain 7, which will be our buttonhole, and then work 1 single crochet on the same stitch. So this will act like our buttonhole, and then I'm going to go ahead, work 1 half double crochet on the third loop of the remaining 5 stitches. And once that is done, I'm going to work a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch to close this round 16. So now I'm gonna end my round 16 by working a slip stitch on top of my starting half double crochet stitch. So we are done with our pouch or our mobile bag. Now we are going to work our straps. I'm going to work 1 slip stitch on the next 2 stitches, which will take you to our corner stitch. So, and then I'll start working on my straps. So for the straps, I'm going to work 145 chains. You can vary this chain according to your requirement or need. So for me, 145 chain was enough. You can increase or decrease according to your requirement. So once that is done, make sure your chain is not twisted. and then I'm going to skip 14 stitches. So skip 14 stitches and then work slip stitch on the 15th and 16th stitches. So work slip stitches on 15th and 16th stitches, and then turn your work and work one slip stitch. So now turn your work and work one slip stitch on the backwards direction on the chain that we have just worked. So work one slip stitch on each chain backwards. So this will make our straps little sturdy, and go ahead, work one slip stitch on each chain backwards till the end. So now work one slip stitch on the next stitch after skipping 14 stitches on the other side, and work a slip stitch on the next stitch, that is actually after the stitch that we have started off the chain for the strap. And go ahead, weave your ends. We must have many odd ends inside the bag. Go ahead, weave all of them and snip all the odd ends of the yarn. And now the next step, we would add a large pearl on the same stitch where we have worked our buttonhole or the button loop. So I'm going to use a sewing needle to sew the large pearl to that stitch. So now go ahead, weave all the odd ends of the yarn inside the bag, and that's it. We are done with our cute little mobile pouch with tulip and pebble stitch detailing on it. So it looks super cute. And if you have a leather tag, you can go ahead sew the leather tag to your bag. That's it's totally optional. I bought these cute tags from Amazon, so I'm just going to sew them over here right there with the sewing needle. So if you don't want to do it, you can totally avoid it, that's fine. So here is our cute little mobile pouch with tulip details. It's fun to work them in many different colors. They're super bright and beautiful, and I hope you enjoyed this pattern. I have also worked a similar bag in a bigger size, so it will be like a big sling bag, comfortable for you to take few more knickknacks with you. And you can find the pattern of that in my Etsy page. So this pouch is perfect for any phone. So they are super cute. It looks good and beautiful. If you want to line them, you can go ahead do so. There are many tutorials to show you how to line your bag, and I hope you enjoyed this cute little phone pouch. As I told you earlier, if you want to work the same bag in a bigger size as a bigger sling bag, you can find the pattern in my Etsy page. I have posted all links on the description. But you can find a free written pattern of this mobile pouch on my website, theyarnbowlcrochet.com. Link for that is available in the description. And if you have an Instagram account, do follow me on my Instagram handle as well. I post project updates and fun reels on my Instagram. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to subscribe to the Yarn Bowl and click on the bell icon as well. Thanks for watching. Bye.